History wasn't just made, it was completely transformed right before our eyes. What transpired on Monday Night Raw wasn't just another chapter in WWE's ongoing saga. It was a seismic shift, a moment so unexpected and impactful that it may very well redefine the future of professional wrestling as we know it. In an episode already shrouded in mystery and tension, Triple H stepped into the spotlight to reveal what many initially thought would be a nostalgic tribute, a mere echo of the past. Instead, what he delivered was the full-scale resurrection and evolution of one of the most iconic factions in WWE history, the Shield. But this wasn't about reliving former glories. It was about reshaping the power structure from the ground up. And just when the WWE Universe began to process the shock, an even bigger bombshell was dropped that sent tremors through the entire industry. Roman Reigns, the self-proclaimed tribal chief and the longest-reigning world champion of WWE's modern era, appeared not to support this new faction, nor to stand in direct opposition. Rather, he came forward to reveal a truth so explosive that it threatened the very fabric of WWE. According to Roman, this version of the Shield wasn't solely a creation of Triple H. It was the brainchild of one man operating from the shadows, Cody Rhodes. Rewinding the events, the night began with Triple H alone in the ring, exuding authority and delivering a message with unmistakable gravity. He didn't speak of championships or brand supremacy. Instead, he announced the dawn of a new era, one built on chaos, justice, and unflinching control. As his words hung heavy in the air, the lights in the arena cut out. In the pitch-black silence, a sinister, intensified remix of the Shield's unmistakable entrance theme thundered through the stadium. It was familiar, yet different. Darker, more dangerous. Emerging from the crowd, much like the original trio once did, were three masked men. Their movements were deliberate, their presence ominous. The WWE Universe erupted into a mix of confusion, awe, and excitement. As they reached the ring, Triple H made it clear. The Shield's philosophy never died, it had merely evolved. The concept had always revolved around three warriors enforcing their brand of justice in a chaotic world. And now, more than ever, WWE needed that order. One by one, the masks came off. First was Gunther, imposing, emotionless, a dominant force whose stoic demeanor alone sent shivers down the audience's spine. He wasn't there to entertain. He was there to impose order through brute force. Then came Dragon Lee, agile and cunning, a high-flyer whose inclusion stunned the crowd. Once celebrated for his honor and lightning speed, he now stood as a soldier in a new battle. Lastly, the mask was removed by Ilya Dragunov, wild-eyed, unrestrained, a man who thrived in the storm of combat. His scream pierced the arena, signaling not just chaos but transformation. As they stood united in the center of the ring, fists raised in a salute eerily reminiscent of the original Shield, it became clear. This wasn't a tribute. It was a rebirth. Meanwhile, backstage turmoil brewed. Seth Rollins, the original architect of the Shield, was seen watching the broadcast alongside Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. His face was frozen in disbelief, his fists tightly clenched. He was witnessing his legacy being rewritten, his history twisted into someone else's vision. Elsewhere, Paul Heyman was seen nervously making a call, pacing with agitation before vanishing from sight. He sensed the danger immediately, because if this group represented a new Shield and was under the influence of Triple H, then everything he had meticulously built with Roman Reigns and the bloodline was suddenly vulnerable. However, nothing prepared fans for what followed just a few nights later on SmackDown. Roman Reigns walked to the ring alone, no bloodline, no backup. The air was thick with anticipation. Standing in the center of the ring with a look of hardened skepticism, Roman addressed the audience with unnerving calm. He didn't mince words. He declared that everyone was focusing on the wrong player, assuming Triple H was orchestrating the moves. But according to Roman, the real mastermind behind the chaos wasn't the game. It was Cody Rhodes. The audience fell silent. Roman explained that ever since Cody failed to complete his story at WrestleMania, he hadn't been nursing wounds, he'd been playing the long game. Cody wasn't seeking redemption. He was seizing control. Roman accused him of meeting with Gunther weeks before the latter's alleged injury, approaching Dragunov during an NXT taping to recruit him, and showing Dragon Lee footage of classic Shield matches to indoctrinate him into a new ideology. Roman stared down the camera and revealed the chilling truth. The man pulling the strings wasn't Triple H, and it wasn't Paul Heyman. It was Cody Rhodes. At that moment, Cody's theme music blared through the arena. The crowd exploded in noise as he made his entrance, not in gear, not for a fight, but dressed sharp, calm, and composed. He didn't deny the allegations. He simply entered the ring, took a mic, and asked, "What if I did?" The crowd roared again. Cody went on, explaining his frustration with the status quo, the repeated faces, the entrenched politics, the locked doors guarded by legacy and entitlement. He admitted that perhaps he no longer wanted to chase justice. He wanted to become it. Roman listened, unmoved, then accused Cody of igniting a war he couldn't possibly win. But before anything could escalate further, the new trio, Gunther, Dragunov, and Dragon Lee, emerged from the crowd, surrounding the ring in classic Shield fashion. Cody stood unfazed, arms folded, side by side with the very men Roman had just exposed him for recruiting. The moment was no longer rumor or theory. It was reality. This was war. One after another, the men removed their masks again, Gunther's intense gaze boring into the lens, Dragon Lee's energy radiating with a dangerous edge, and Dragunov's chaotic aura nearly overwhelming. They raised their fists together. Roman backed away, not in surrender, but in strategic retreat. He understood what everyone else had just realized. This wasn't going to conclude at Money in the Bank. This was the beginning of a long, dangerous chapter. It would stretch across major events, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, maybe even all the way to WrestleMania. Backstage, Seth Rollins erupted in fury, throwing chairs while Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker tried in vain to calm him. He watched his legacy being hijacked and transformed into something unrecognizable. And elsewhere, Paul Heyman slipped quietly into a waiting car, visibly shaken. He seemed to know what others hadn't yet realized. Cody Rhodes might not only be challenging Roman Reigns. He could be positioning himself to dismantle everything WWE had built. Now, with Money in the Bank on the horizon, the landscape has shifted dramatically. Cody Rhodes has revealed himself as the architect of a revolution. Roman Reigns stands not just as a champion, but as a man forced to defend his identity and empire. Seth Rollins faces a crisis of legacy. Paul Heyman is caught in a storm he didn't see coming. The lines have been drawn. Trust has eroded. Loyalties have fractured. What lies ahead isn't a storyline. It's a war for the very soul of WWE. And Cody Rhodes may have just lit the match that could burn it all to the ground. Stay tuned, because the chaos is only beginning, and when these powers collide, nothing and no want the champions, not the icons, not a victory bow.